Hello everyone and welcome. There's a growing list of remote Git providers that offer services ranging anywhere from free to highly premium. All these Git providers, however, have their own limitations. And so if you find your team of developers falling outside of those boundaries, or perhaps needing highly custom Git functionality, it's just about time you looked into creating your own custom Git remote server. In this video, I'll show you step by step an easy method you can use to create your own custom Git server and set it up so that your developers can use it to collaborate, push, commit, and pull changes on their product. All you need for this video is a remote computer, so go ahead and grab one from DigitalOcean or whatever it is you use. And you don't need to worry too much about the space, because in this video we're going to be using a bare repo, which ultimately means that the copy of the repository that's going to be stored on the remote machine is actually going to be smaller than the copy that's stored on your developers' machines. So let's get down to it. Alright, what I've got here is a new install of Ubuntu. I've done the typical apt-get update and upgrade. So what you want to do first is just make sure that Git is installed on your VPS. So what you want to do is run sudo apt-get install and just do Git. That will install Git if it's not installed, and will go ahead and return not upgraded if it actually is. Now I'm just gonna ls here, and there's nothing in the root directory, and you just want to make a new directory. So we'll do make dir, and I'll just call this git underscore tutorial dot git. It's just gonna make a new directory for us. You just want to cd into that. So I just do git and then hit tab, and it's just gonna autocomplete ls, and there's nothing in here. And what you want to do is just git init a new repo here, and at the end you just want to do bare, which is double space and then bare. And what this does is it's just going to create a new repo, but it's going to create strictly the .git file. You sort of see this in other Git repos. It's just that the .git file is where Git literally keeps its stuff, and so when you init a bare repo like this, what's going to happen is you won't be able to work on the repo, but you still will be able to push, commit, and so on. And so this stops us from having two copies of the repo on the server, since we perhaps don't even want to be using that kind of storage. So I'm just gonna confirm that, and it says initialize the new repo, and if I ls, we've got all the files we need here, and essentially right now our Git repo is set up. We just want to go ahead, switch over to our Windows machine and check if this is working. Alright, so next you want to have your IP address and password for the VPS nearby, and you want to find a suitable location to be cloning this repo. So I'm just going to do it on the desktop. So open git bash at that location, and you want to do git clone. Just want to clone the repo and provide a username, the username that you used while creating the repo. In my case it's root over here, and go ahead and copy the IP address in here and paste. And what you want to do is do colons and then provide the name of the repo. Our repo is located directly at the root. If you had subfolders and folders, you'd sort of need to do something along the lines of git repos, or perhaps git repos slash git.git, some of that sort. But since ours is directly at the root, we can just provide the name. So this is git tutorial.git, and what it's going to do is it's going to come onto this VPS and search for this Git repo and then clone it. So we're just going to check the name and go ahead and hit enter. If this kind of stage returns an error or something, just make sure the names and directories are right. And so what you want to do is, now it's asking for the password of the root user, and I'm just going to copy that from my other screen and paste it in there and hit enter. and it's like warning you appear to have cloned an empty repo. That is absolutely fine for us, and you just want to go ahead and cd into this repo. So it's git tutorial, and so right in here you can kind of see that our repository has been cloned over from this server onto our local machine. So I'm just using ls space al to sort of list the files that are in here. Right now you just want to check and confirm that you actually can sync changes from your local git repo to your server. And so I'm just going to go ahead and open up the directory where we cloned our repo and create a new file. I'm going to call it test file, and over in git, if I do git status, it goes ahead and detects that there are some untracked files. I'm just going to add all files in the repo, and the status again shows that there's some new files. And what you want to do is make the commit. So git commit, and this commit is made strictly to your local repo. And since this actually is the initial commit, so there it goes, it's committed everything, and now we need to push these changes over to the server. So git push. Notice how you don't need to set up an origin or anything of that sort like you would have done on GitHub. This just sort of works straight out of the box, and there it goes, asking for the password once again. Just gonna paste that in there, and it sends over the files. Now there is no real way of confirming whether this has worked except going ahead and creating a new folder, and I'm just gonna name it testing git working. Not the best name of the planet. And I'm just gonna open up a new git bash right there, and I'm gonna use our server to go ahead and clone the repo once again. And so this is gonna pull the repo from the server again. And so just gonna copy the IP address, paste it in there, and once again provide the name of the repo without any typos. And so I'm just gonna clone that, and so it wants the password, surely. So I'm gonna copy that password in here, paste it there now, and there it goes with the cloning. Notice how it has actually cloned the file that we created and pushed locally. Now this has been really cumbersome in the sense that it could be less cumbersome. Every single time we've had to reference the server, we've had to provide a username and an IP address, and we've actually had to enter a password as well. This could be less tiresome, especially if you want your developers to have an enjoyable experience working with this. And so your Git repo at this moment is already set up on the server side and on the client side. It's all fine, but you could make this easier. And so next we're going to look at simplifying this process, especially for the other developers on the team. Okay, this is a really cool, really quick one. As a professional Git developer, you will find yourself in situations where you have multiple files that have been either changed, added, or deleted on a Git repo. In such situations, one really professional trick to have is to be able to pick out which files show when you do a Git status. And this is a really cool one. So to pick out the files that show, all you need to do is run git status and then put this standing symbol, never learned what the name of that is, and then grep it, and here specify which files you want to see. In this case, if I wanted to see the modified files, and it only shows the files that have been modified. You might want to see only the script files. There it goes. Thanks for watching this one. Let me know down below how cool this was. Was it necessary? Unnecessary? Let's get on. Right, for starters, we could make it so that the developers do not need to reference this IP address every single time. And to do this, all you really need to do is edit the host file on Windows. So I'm just gonna grab a notepad real quick and open it as a administrator, because the host file requires administrative privileges when opening up. And what you want to do is just go ahead and open. And so you want to navigate all the way to from your local disk C, going to Windows, and go to System32. Inside drivers, etc, and just make sure all documents are viewable, and then grab the hosts file. In here you might find something similar to this, and what this does is it allows your PC to be able to change IP addresses to domains, or perhaps use domains for IP addresses. And what you want to do now is go ahead and figure out what the IP address for your server is, and just bring it in here and paste it over here. And then you want to hit tab, right? And then just go ahead and provide the domain you'd like it to undertake. And so I'm just going to call this git server dot, pretty much anything works here. I'll just go with .com. And what you want to do is save. Now, I mean, like I said, anything works. I just imagine right now there could be an actual gitserver.com, and so perhaps you might want to do .com and maybe my underscore, and then save that. And notice Notepad needs to be running with administrator privileges to actually do this in the first place. So what happens then is you can go ahead and open up any terminal and ping this domain to just make sure that everything is working. So I'm just gonna ping and go ahead and paste that in there. And there you go, it goes ahead and lets you know that it's actually pinging your server, and that it can translate from this over to your server's domain. Alright, so what we want to do next is set up a means of secure communication between the developer's machine and the server, without the developer needing to enter a password every single time he's trying to communicate with the server. And as you'd imagine, SSH key pairs come in really helpful with this. So what we're going to do is create two keys. One is going to be public, the other is going to be private. We're going to copy the public key over to the server so that it always knows when a trusted machine is the one requesting for a connection. This does create some new files on the client's machine, which is why I've got this this folder open. This is my users folder right there. So what I want to do is go ahead and I just want to mention this is a relatively new feature in Windows. This SSH Cajun stuff will not work with Windows 7 or earlier, and in fact it will only work with some of the latest versions of Windows 10. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and do SSH Kagan, and you just want to provide a type, which is going to be RSA, and just go ahead and hit enter. And it goes ahead and asks for the file name, and I'm just going to press enter, and it wants a passphrase, which is going to ask for every single time you're trying to connect. We're not going to do the passphrase thing because we're trying to get away from passphrases as a whole, or passwords and so on. So I'm just going to leave it empty and do that again, and notice it created some new files on my user's desktop, and this ID rsa.pub, this is what we want to move over to the Linux machine. And so if I ls right now over on the Linux machine inside of home, there's literally nothing in here except a few hidden files. And what we're going to do is we're going to use scp to move this over there. So you just want to do scp, and I'm unfortunate enough to have my users directory with spaces in it. and so I'll need to do single quotes as I walk my way through this. I'm just gonna copy that, come over here, paste it, and then provide an actual link to the file. You need to get a reference to the actual file. Just gonna paste that in there, and then you need to do a space and specify the destination of the file, which is going to be over at our server. And notice we recently specified a domain name for our server, so we don't need to go IP address anymore. So we just go mygetserver.com, and then we need to specify a location, which is going to be home slash, I guess I'm just going to drop it at the home. There isn't really much need to have it go anywhere else. Let's say in there, and there it goes, the file is transferred. So over on our box, just go ahead and navigate to the directory where you set the file, and you just want to do ls, and there it goes, the file is right there. And so next we want to set up SSH to use this file to check for incoming connections and reject or accept them depending on that. So we just wanna make a new directory and use that weird symbol, never learned the name of that, and just gonna do with the P before, and then use that weird symbol to specify .ssh. Okay. And now that we're done making that, just want to check again if our file is still there. And what you want to do now is just go ahead and touch into that same directory that we created earlier, so weird sign and .ssh. And now we just want to create a new authorized keys file. So authorized, type it right, authorized underscore keys, and you just want to hit enter for that. And then what this has done is, surely it's created the authorized keys, but then it's not added, this public key hasn't been added into the authorized keys yet. And so what you want to do is just go ahead and cut that into it. So we're just gonna cut, and it's over in our home directory. So cut home and specify the file. So it's ID, there you go. And you just want to push this into, so this means just literally add it onto the authorized, the next file here. So it's just going to go on top of it. And so you just want to specify the authorized keys, because we're literally adding this as an authorized key, .ssh slash authorized keys, which is the only file in there. Just want to do that, and then you can now cut out the SSH. So you can literally now just take a look at the file, slash authorized keys, and you can kind of see that now our key has been added, and it even has reference to the user, which is over here. And so from now on, you do not need to enter the password every single time you're doing something with this Linux box. And so we're just going to test that real quick. Just going to go ahead and open up perhaps the desktop and create a new file, create a new folder, and test it again. And right click, and we can go ahead and do, oh my god, git GUI. We'll go ahead and do git bash. Done do. Here it is, and we just want to clone this repo again. And notice how fast it's going to be this time. So we're just going to do git clone, and we're going to do root at my_getserver.com, and we just want to specify the directory for. You just want to specify the directory for the git. So you just want to go git underscore tutorial again, and this time when we hit enter, it goes ahead and clones the repo rather aimlessly. So here's the repo again, cloned as you would expect, but you can sort of see how free that was. And so if I go in here and once again make a change, this is a new change to the file, save that, and I'm gonna commit on my end